Hello, my name is Richard. If I'm in trouble, Rip Yeagerman, Common Sense Rip. And the last real job I had was working in the car dealership as a warranty claims administrator. And I remember feeling trapped, stuck in the 9 to 5 groove. Had a family, extraordinary Eileen, and a couple of children that we were both working to try to pay the bills and to get ahead. And I was putting overtime in to try to get the extra money to get ahead. And I didn't feel like it was working. I didn't feel like I was doing what I was called to do. If that makes sense to some of you. There was something more that I wanted out of life than just to be, right? I owe, so off to work I go. And I never forget, Ernie came back. He was a service writer there, and he goes, check out what I got. He had this black little knife he had gotten. It was a Swiss Army with the name of the company, the tool company that he had gone for on an interview on. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Not the knife, but the sentiment behind it. That it was just a token of our appreciation for you taking the time and coming to talk to us. And I'm going, that's cool. It's kind of what I wanted to be involved with. And I ended up setting up an interview, and I went there, and things worked out really well. And I got my own little knife. I actually still have it upstairs. But it's that token. It's that made to feel that you kind of belong feeling that I thought it was so great. And then more of the things festered in me about being able to become my own boss, being able to own my own business. Something that I had never really looked at before that was scary, super scary. That, and I'll never forget that Larry, the guy that I worked for at the dealership, had come in. I told him and had the discussion, and finally said, you know what, I'm moving forward, I'm doing this. And he'd come in with and I'll never forget, it was a piece of toilet paper. Because I remember going, are you serious? I said, you have your notes for our discussion is on toilet paper. I said, yeah, but he went through all the reasons he gave me for the why I shouldn't move forward, right? And not so much take that job, but start my own type of career, own my own business. And ironically, as he listed off each reason, your pay is here. And I said, yeah, well, my pay is more like here, but not here. But it's every reason he was giving me would just kind of made that reason seem more clear why I should move forward and do that. So I did. I took the leap of faith, and I jumped and I did it. And it was tough. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I worked more. I slept in my truck. I mean, that's kind of the devotion you kind of take when you start in a business. You need to make it work. And here I thought I was putting in all those hours working there, and I was putting in even more hours, right, working, for myself and my own business. And one of the things that I remember when I was at the dealership, they came forward with me about is that they wanted me to be part of their 401k. And they tried and they tried and they tried, and they brought in this guy and they brought in that guy, and there was nothing that ever resonated with me to go, okay, I'm in. So I never did that. But I had some money that I hadn't finished college. I had a trust fund set up, and I left in my junior year. You're supposed to pick out your major you're going to be in, and all your credits are going to start to accumulate toward there. So I kind of went, time out. I want to take a leave of absence and try to figure out what I want, because I don't want to waste the 2 years worth of trust fund I had to pay those 2 years of tuition. That makes sense? So when they were talking about 401ks and investments and where you put your money in there, that money had just been sitting in a savings account. And that propelled me to kind of move forward and find out why I had a friend of a friend that they were with. Remember E.F. Hutton? When E.F. Hutton talks, everyone listens. Payne Weber, UBS. And it was a very, very no risk. Guaranteed growth. Your kids will have money for the college when they're ready to go to college, the whole 9 yards there. And I'd put money in there with them, trusting them. So in the part of moving to Snap-on, it was 3, 4, 5 years later, and I made top 10. I won the awards. Everything was going what I call good. There was still something missing from what was going on. Now, the one thing that I love that it afforded me the ability to be able to spend time when I needed to spend time where I could spend time with kids' games, plays, right? That kind of stuff. When my truck would roll and it's, your daddy's here, your daddy's here. It was that kind of, I grew up with always looking for my parents. They here? They here yet? And they, most of the time, never showed. I didn't want my kids to have that. So I made sure that, when my children were partaking in those kind of activities, I was there for that. And that was one of the highlights and one of the things I'm extremely grateful for. We were at Michael's one day, and we were cashing out. It was a really cold winter day. We were all bundled up. The kids were in their snowsuits, and we had our parkers and stuff on. And as we were cashing out, I remember looking down at my son, and he just fell to the floor. And he got up, and I kind of looked at him and said, you're okay? What happened? He goes, I don't know. But it's really weird. It was. I remember picking him up in my arms and kind of carrying him over by the bench, by the door, that big door that kind of opens and closes as people are leaving. And I got him up on the bench so I could kind of look at him eye to eye, and I kind of got in his eyes to go, tell me what exactly had happened. And he was kind of like, I don't know. And I tried to ask again, and I realized that you could see it in his eyes, when he starts to, your children start to get scared that something's going on there. So I let it go. But we pursued it on the medical side to find out that he had a form of epilepsy that's a seizure, is a blackout or a drop seizure. And then, of course, from that point on, we just allocated all our resources to figure out what's going on. We saw every doctor we could see. We put him on all the medications that were recommended for the medications to be put on. And we reached from locally to across the pond to into Boston, and Boston Children's Hospital. They said that we want to operate, we want to remove, we believe, a focal point lesion that's in there that will eliminate these seizures. And I had to look for answers for how to proceed. You have to understand the risk of surgery, you have to understand, and it was all these, the people that I respect, that I reach out to for the people that I dealt with, and God bless Bill Mannion from Mannion Motor Electric Service, that was with Make-A-Wish Foundation with children, and he gave me the answer I was looking for. And he told me, it's better to have tried and failed than to never have tried and always wonder what if. So at which point I'd ask him to use his phone. Could I use your phone? And I had to call the extraordinary Eileen and say, I have my decision. I want to move forward with the surgery. And she agreed. And God bless us with the surgery, went well. The lesion was removed, and he's been seizure free since the surgery. But the bills started coming in, and it's just started bearing us. And as good as our insurance was, is it ever good enough? And we just went into a downhill spiral as far as we're deeper and deeper in the hole. And the extraordinary Eileen was at the checkbook one night when I came in, and she's crying. And I asked her what's wrong, because we don't have enough money to pay our bills. Okay, well, let me look at that. Now, her analogy for paying bills was to pay as much as she could to get them paid off as quick as she could. My analogy of paying the bills was, give them $5, they'll be happy, let's move on. Who's right? How do you know how you pay your bills? How do you learn? I learned from home economics how to do my checkbook, right? Dating myself, home economics, what is it? Cooking, sewing, and you're reconciling and balancing checkbooks. Who teaches you finances? Who teaches you what to do with them? Who teaches you in this particular situation? I already let my dad down because I took a leave of absence from college. He was disgusted with me. I'm a quitter. I just felt so horrible about myself and the position I'm in, and I'm so stupid. And how can I not figure something out like this that should be so simple to figure out? So I went on a hunt. I had a mission. I'm going to figure out what's going on. I'm going to figure out how we're supposed to do this. I'm going to find someone that I can trust, someone that will tell me the truth, someone that will guide me in the right way that I should be guided to pay my bills, to get out of debt, to try to figure this whole financial mess out. And I came across someone online. I'll never forget Stacy Moore. If you're watching this, Stacy, thank you so very much for everything you did for us. You were so patient and so kind with me. Here's a Tommy Boy reference. I'm the guy that sticks his head up the cow's butt to see where his steak comes from. I had to know everything about everything. Okay, this was way too good to be true when I got involved with Stacy and started looking at things. You'll pay off all your debt in 1/2 to 1/3 the time and save thousands of dollars. What? Too good to be true? Bing, 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 alarms are going off, run, run, hide, hide. Not happening. But it had me hooked. I had to figure it out. I had to find out how everything worked. And I talked with person after person after person, and people that she could refer me to. I actually talked to the two boys that were actually, one of the guys wrote the software, one of the guys were their best friends growing up, and I talked with them about and understood their passion, their mission to free America from debt one family at a time. And it was just the pinnacle of me making the decision was there was software that you could play with, that you could play with as the agent, that you could do the analysis. Well, he gave me her login and password. We hung up. She said, good luck. It was 4 or 5 hours later, she calls me back. She goes, so have you, was that good? Was that? And I kind of was being quiet, and she's going, oh my gosh. She goes, you're still playing with the analysis. And I'm going, yeah, guilty. But I was trying to break a calculator, is what it finally came to me. Whatever numbers I put in, it adjusted and showed me this. And whatever numbers I tried to, I was trying to find the loophole. I was trying to find some reason why I didn't have to move forward and do that. And I couldn't. So I went to the Extraordinary Eileen. I said, I think we need to spend this money and buy this and put this in place. It'll give us the guidance. And she was like, okay. So we did. Now back then, it wasn't immediate as it is right now. You come back online, everything gets put on place. You had to do the paperwork, you had to send it in. It was 3 or 4 weeks until we could get my login and password. But I think I took the day off from work to when I got that information, because I was so excited to put everything all in place. Extraordinary Eileen had come home with the children. She was making them dinner. She had put them to bed. And then I can hear her on her way over, because I can hear the floor creaking. And I kind of was pretty excited for a change. And then her gorgeous blue eyes come around the corner, and she's looking at me and is it worth the money? Did you do good? Did you get scammed? And she knew the biggest smile I broke out with, and I was so proud. It's worth every penny. It's worth every penny. It's just, it was a savior for us, because it told us exactly what to pay when. You just follow the prompts of the action plan. There was no more, she thinks we should pay this and I think we should pay that. It was just perfect. And I don't understand why this is the only place I've ever found any kind of guidance and any kind of program like this. So it was a godsend to us, as far as that now we were on track, and now we at least had a game plan, and now we at least had something to move forward with, and to understand and to learn how our finances all work. I babbled for way too long. I thank you so very much for listening to me, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Make it a great day.